Could you please come with me? Au gouvernement français, je vous fais chevalier dans l'ordre des arts et des lettres.
Monsieur le consul général de France, Monsieur le conseiller culturel, chers invités distingués et chers amis, je suis à la fois très heureux et très honoré d'être ici ce soir. Merci. J'aurais voulu faire mon discours uniquement en français, mais j'ai trop de respect pour vous tous. Et j'ai donc décidé de ne pas vous soumettre à ma boucherie de la langue sacrée. Donc, si vous me permettez, je m'exprimerai en anglais. I first went to France when I was 15 years old. I was transported there by Julio Cortázar, whose novel Hopscotch told of Argentinian expatriates living a life of music, squalor, and wondrousness in late 1950s Paris. I read the book on the subways of New York and was so engrossed I often missed my stop. My next voyage to France occurred in an art cinema on 5th Avenue off 13th Street, where I went with my uncle to see the Alain René Jorge Sempron film La Guerre est finie. In it, Yves Montand, a weary veteran of the Spanish Civil War, plotted the overthrow of the Franco regime from his little apartment in the 5th arrondissement. Assisting him in this effort were Ingrid Tulin and Geneviève Bugeaud. Paris never looked more gray, more doomstruck, or more enchanting. And so I went to France again and again, Alphaville, Breathless, Walter Benjamin's Arcades projects. But it never occurred to me to visit the real France. No one found, not the one found between book covers, not the one found in darkened Greenwich Village movie theaters, but the other one, the one over there. I didn't think that was possible. And then one day when I was 19, something changed. I was thinking about Horacio and La Maga, who could be found on the Pont des Arts in Hopscotch, yet they were both from Buenos Aires. I was thinking about Yves Montand's character in La Guerre est finie, Spanish, and about Jean Seberg, the heroine of Breathless, American, and Walter Benjamin, German, and of course, Alphaville, written and directed by a Swiss doctor's son, in which an American man falls in love with a Danish woman in Paris. And I began to realize at first slowly and then with accumulating force that France, the real France, was possible. That when Jacques Rivette says, Paris nous appartient, Paris belongs to us, that his nous was very large, was inclusive, was welcoming, was beckoning. I set foot in the real Paris just before I turned 20. I found there all I had dreamed and so much more. Instead of having an imaginary Paris residing within my head, there was now a real Paris, but my head seemed much more imaginary. Underneath those paving stones was my beach. The glories of French literature, French cinema, French theory, French political thought, French cuisine, French wine, French comradeship. The wonders were palpably offered up, and they were not lost on me. But in addition, there were cinemas showing the films of Nick Ray and Sam Fuller. I walked down narrow streets and came upon traces of Thomas Jefferson and James Baldwin, whom I think of as the founding fathers of my country. There were bookstores where I found first editions of Patricia Highsmith and Philip K. Dick. It was as if France had collected for me the very best of my own land and allowed me endlessly to rummage the stacks of a fine and infinite library. And among those cobbled stacks, I began to feel a sense of my own possibility, that I became who I am. Monsieur Consul, Monsieur Conseiller Culturel, it was through your country that I discovered my own. And that gift, for that gift, no thanks I might give would be sufficient. Merci. Je tiens à vous remercier sincèrement de partager avec moi cette soirée hantée et rayonnante.